Hi all, let us say in this video why the world ran out of chips and your car paid the price. In 2021, Ford had 40,000 trucks sitting in the parking lots, fully built, but couldn't ship them. Not because of strikes, not because of fuel, but because of a chip smaller than your thumbnail. One tiny piece of silicon was holding the entire world economy hostage. So what actually happened? Before we get into the chaos, let's understand what we actually are talking about. A semiconductor chip or an integrated circuit, an IC they call it, is a tiny slice of silicon packed with billions of microscopic transistors. These transistors are basically tiny switches that turn on and off billions of times per second. Together, they process information, run your apps, control your car brakes, regulate your fridge temperature. Everything runs on chips. Your phone has one, your car has thousands of them. Even the microwave, which your food is prepared, has one. Most people don't know. Chips are incredibly hard to make. You can't just build a chip factory overnight. It takes 3 to 5 years and costs over 10 billions of dollars to build a single advanced chip fabrication plant called as a fab. Inside a fab, workers wear full body suits in ultra clean rooms because even a single dust particle can destroy an entire wafer. The image replicates it. The process involves 1,000 manufacturing steps and takes up to 3 months to produce one batch of chips. There are only a handful of companies in the world that can do this. TSMC in Taiwan, Samsung in South Korea, Intel in the USA. India is just gearing up to reach it. Now, early 2020, COVID hits, the world lockdowns. Car companies panicked. They thought nobody is buying cars during a pandemic. So they cancelled their chips order immediately. But then something unexpected happened. Everyone went home and bought laptops, bought gaming consoles, bought tablets for the kids' online classes. Demand for electronics exploded overnight. Chip factories, which had just freed up capacity from the cancelled car orders, immediately filled that space with consumer electronics orders. PlayStation FIs, MacBooks, consoles, Xbox. The fabs were running at 100% capacity, but just not for the cars anymore. Cars get hit the hardest. 6 months later, car sales recovered faster than anyone expected. Ford, GM, Toyota, they all rushed back to order chips again, but there was a queue, a very long queue. Consumer electronics had taken all the capacity, and unlike ordering a pen drive, you can't just ask for a chips tomorrow. Lead times, the waiting period between ordering and receiving chips, had exploded from the earlier 12 weeks to over 52 weeks now. One full year of waiting. Ford lost $2.5 billion in profits that year alone. GM lost $2 billion. Globally, the auto industry lost over $200 billion in revenue, all because of chips that cost just a few dollars. It wasn't just the cars. Cars got the headlines, but the shortage hit everything. PlayStation, which was launched in 2020, was completely sold out for almost 2 years. Graphic cards for PCs were selling at 3 times their retail price. Hospital equipment was delayed. Washing machine, refrigerator, dishwashers, all sitting half finished in the factories waiting for the chips. Even the US military flagged concerns about supply for the defense systems. One tiny component had become single point of failure for the entire global economy. Why couldn't they just make more? This is the question everyone asked. Why not just build more chip factories? The answer comes back to what I said earlier. It takes 3 to 5 years and billions of dollars. You can't just flip a switch. TSMC announced a $100 billion investment plan to expand capacity. Intel announced new fabs in the US and Europe. But those fabs won't be fully operational until 2025 and 2026. The world had spent decades concentrating chip manufacturing in just few locations, mostly Taiwan, for efficiency and cost. That efficiency became a mass vulnerability the moment one thing went wrong. By the late 2022, the shortage started easing. Car companies learned their lessons and started keeping larger chip inventories. The US passed the CHIPS Act, $52 billion to build semiconductor fabs on American soil. Europe launched its CHIPS Act, but the most interesting story, India. For decades, India was absent from the global semiconductor map, but the chip shortage changed the thinking completely. In 2021, India launched its own semiconductor mission, Indian Semicon Mission, committing over $76,000 billion in the government incentives to attract chip manufacturers. Tata Group, yes, the same Tata that makes your salts and your cars, announced India's first major semiconductor assembly and test facility in Gujarat. Tata is also partnering with PSMC for Taiwan to build a full fabrication plant, India's first real chip fab, again in Gujarat. Micron Technology from the US announced a massive chip assembly plant in Sanandhan, Gujarat, with over $825 million in the investment, backed by the government support. The Indian government is offering up to 50% capital subsidy for companies setting up fabs and chip packaging units on the Indian soil. The goal is clear: make India a serious player in global semiconductor. Next time you pick up your phone or start your car or turn on your PlayStation, remember there's a chip inside that took 3 months to make, traveled across multiple continents, and almost broke the global economy. That's the power of silicon. If you want to understand more about the technology hiding inside your everyday devices, subscribe to the Inside the Chip. I'll see you the next time.